healing sanctuary. This is my goal and my dream someday, to have this out here at Cozumel's God's Breath Farm. I would love to do that, just to share what I've learned, how I healed, just personally, for gals to come on out, or even men too, with their children, without their kids, whatever they feel comfortable with, to come and experience. And I can teach as much as I know, and the things that I've learned, things that I did, and just to have this community knitted together. And we had our first gathering. This is kind of like a baby step towards it, over this spring, where I had my very first retreat. It was in the backyard. We had many ladies that stayed for the day, and I had quite a few handful that actually roughed it in tents. And we did have another alternative too. I might not have that this year, but it was an experience. But saying that, also what I wanted to do is to have some sort of, and I even talk with us about this particular issue with my friend Brianne Coleman. Now, Brianne was a guest not too long ago. She shared her very powerful story of having been a victim, but she is a thriver and survivor, and I'm going to give her a shout out. She just graduated from Purdue for business, and I'm so proud of her. She did that yesterday, and I got goosebumps just thinking about it. And she is a mover and shaker. She is going to move on to do so many brilliant and wonderful things for our community, for women. And I'm glad that and honored that she's asked me to be a part of that. But I know in my area here, she's up north a little bit from me, and that's going to be in Nigeria, Indiana, possibly in that area. But down here where I'm at, Morocco, by Fair Oaks Farms, if anybody's from the States and they know where that is, Rensselaer, that sort of thing. When you have a shelter, you can stay for so long, okay? Now, I'm not going to glamorize shelters, but they can be phenomenal and fabulous. But when you're in that moment, everything's doom and gloom. It feels really sad. It can feel real intense. And this is totally off where I meant to do for my Soulful Sunday. So bear with me again, just being spirit-led. And so, like, I had experience at St. Jude House in Crown Point, and looking back, that was a really good experience. But just remember, when you go into, or consider going into your shelter, and I don't want to scare you or anything, most of those victims, now turn hopefully survivors, are still trapped in that drama cycle. They're still experiencing that pain, that anguish, the same pain and anguish that you might be feeling as well going into that. So their parenting skills might not be stellar. I know mine weren't. The children, the behavior of the children, they could punch other kids. They can bully other kids. They could be mean. Moms can be totally, you might not be used to a mom that's from the suburbs, or you might not be used to a mom that might be from another part of town or different ethnicity, because many women, we're all parts, right? There's no prejudice with abuse. So you might have a woman, when I go and share my story, and I haven't done it, and I feel really disheartened. I need to get in touch with them again. But when I shared my story the last time, this was before the crazy, year that we had in 2020. Before that, there were some ladies that were Russian. So they were immigrants. They'd been here for a number of years, but they were women in need of help. They were in crisis. They had left their abusers. And so it's just a variety. There were some ladies that were of Hispanic origin. There were some ladies, again, it's a rainbow, let's just call it that, of faces for abuse. So my heart goes out. I really wish I would love to do something in here. I thought about having like little tiny houses, and I'm just telling you my hopes and dreams right now, because I can do that. Somebody asked me, and again, I'm going off on a tangent, asked me recently, what is like your biggest challenge? What is really heavy on you? And of course, the normal stuff, finances and, having enough money and so on and so on. But I really thought hard about it. And you know what my answer to her was? I cut my hair. I felt immediately blessed. This is the worst of my problems. Again, we have my daughter's health issues. That's a no-brainer. But besides that, life is good. Life is blessed. And I didn't have that many years ago. I couldn't look back and tell you that life of mine was on a roller coaster prior to 2009. It was and I was a train wreck. So this was a blessing for me to think, oh yeah, besides my daughter, of course, she's ultimately number one on my hit parade of why I'm concerned. And I haven't gotten in touch with my son from Alabama. We've been corresponding back and forth, but I haven't heard from him since Thanksgiving, so I'm a little concerned. We don't have any family down there, so I don't have any other way to reach him but just maybe a messenger or via his phone, and I haven't heard from him, so I'm very concerned. But otherwise, my hair. Should I got my hair? But that's, I know, crazy. But my dream was to have like little tiny houses here on the farm where women can stay a few months. Maybe they left that shelter and they need to transition into something else to find housing, to find jobs. I did actually reach out to a local employment agency and said, hey, if I have a woman in need, can I share your information, or can I bring her to you, or so on and so on. So I've been able to try and make these baby steps in order to make connections in my area in case there is that need and so on, but I don't have it nailed down for the housing. There is a housing complex not too far away, but there's a waiting list for that. It's for women and children only, but there is that waiting list. So I would like to have something, and I talked to Mr. Awesome about this, having that little housing, that tiny house in our area, but my only concern is, what if she goes back to her partner or tells that person where she's staying, and that might put my family in danger. So there's got to be a way. I considered even buying up farmland. I'm not money bags, trust me. I'm wishing, I'm dreaming of having that where I could buy the farmland around us, maybe 20 acres, 30 acres around us, to have more retreats, to have maybe somebody with horses come out and do some healing sessions. Again, big dreams. Anyway, let's get back to the real reason that I'm coming on. I'm going off on a tangent, but I wanted to let you know what's on my heart. And again, that last call with my friend saying, hey, this woman's not going to have anywhere to go. Many times they'll go back to their abuser, and that just breaks my heart. That's been heavy on my heart. So let's talk about this. So today I wanted to talk about going no contact with your abuser. We're doing this extreme modification where you have very little contact with that person. Actually, no, that was supposed to be Tuesday, but apparently the Lord's telling me to talk about that now, so we're going to talk about that now. So let's dive into that. Sorry, that was supposed to be Tuesdays, but okay, let's do this. Now, it can be hard for a victim to cut off that connection with that abuser. And there's a few reasons why. One being they have that connection with possibly children. They don't want to, they might feel bad. That victim feels bad. Oh, I can't, he needs to see or she needs to see our children, or, they usually tell them good night, or they usually go, right now during the holidays, they want to see Nana or Grandpa. I feel bad, or the stepdad wants to have visitation or something of that nature. So it can be really hard for a victim to put the brakes on going no contact. So what can you do? Well, I mentioned this before. My sister took my phone early on, and I noticed when she did that, of course, I went through these withdrawals. We have that dopamine, that cortisol, and so on, things that happen in our amygdala, never mind, I'm not going to try, in our brain. And these things can be it's like sugar. Like if you love sugar, if you love fast food, if you've ever gone cold turkey, no pun intended, on not having any more fast food, that happened to me. I couldn't afford a lot of fast food after I left my ex. So we didn't do it. We just stopped. I put the brakes on it. And I know I was going through those withdrawals. It's like, oh, I could really go for a Mickey D fry. They've got the best fries. But maybe I'll just get a little hamburger. No, it was very hard. And going no sugar. I've mentioned my struggle with eating and eating issues. And I loves me. I have this romance with cookies and pasta and bread, especially homemade. I'm terrible. I go out to the kitchens like, oh, what can I whip up now? And I know. So it's the same sort of, I'm trying to give you an idea what it's like, that withdrawal that you get from not watching your favorite show or your soap opera, whatever that is, or hearing your favorite music. It's that same kind of feeling that you have. It's the best way I can associate it with. So going no contact, you might be missing that abuser, even though this person is terrible for you. You might be missing that person. You are looking or anticipating when that phone rings or when you see a message from that person, even though deeply in your heart it's sinking because you know it's probably going to be something that is perhaps negative. It could be a situation where they are just being mean. They are being condescending. They might be remorseful in many cases. I don't care whether it's your husband, whether it's your ex-husband, ex-wife, wife, so on and so on, your mom or dad, they say that, oh, I've changed, I'm done, the proof is in the pudding. Let them start showing. Let them start actually talking the talk, walking the walk, and so on. But don't go back right away. Don't go back. Don't, invite them over for dinner. Oh, they've changed. No, give it time. 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. I've heard that record. It's a broken record. I've heard it from my ex for so long that it's like, oh yeah, sure, okay, I know. No, it's not going to happen. He doesn't have it programmed, and many of these do not have it programmed or are unable to get to that point where you can have them over for bread or where they actually mean it. Again, if a person is definitely true to their word, they will do the work. They'll take that blame. They'll take that responsibility. They will admit that they were wrong, that they had issues, and they will take those steps to heal. They'll get that counseling, they'll get that therapy, they'll go on that medication, and they'll stay on it. But again, just wait to see. Don't go start immediately. Take them in, give them time. So going that no contact means giving your phone to somebody else. Maybe instead of, if you've had a restraining order of protection, don't violate your order by corresponding, by firing back, by, no matter, even if you're meaning it in a good-natured way. Oh, well, he just wants to say goodnight to the kids. Please, and I'm not being condescending to you, honey. I know, I've been there. Please, for your own safety, for your own peace of mind, just let it go. If you have a no-contact order, talk to your attorney. If you have an attorney, tell your attorney, hey, first of all, he's violating, or she's violating because she's asking for this, that, and it seems sweet. They want to say goodnight to the kids. It seems adorable. And it even might pull at your heartstrings. But talk to your legal professional, whoever that is for you, legal aid or whatever, and tell them, hey, this is going on. You do have rights too, okay, Mama? You have those rights to protect yourself, protect your children, protect your sanity as well. So go ahead and talk to that person. You don't have to answer. You're not at their beck and call anymore, okay? Give yourself permission just to ignore those messages. If it's something that's important, perhaps you can set it up through a legal professional, okay? Try not to do it through family. Family and friends, it can be very hard. Your family and friends might even be swayed to your abuser, what's going on with them, or they might be belittled, or, again, they might tell you, well, he seems really remorseful. He didn't mean it. So please try not to get into that situation. Do it, if you can, by the book with somebody that's a neutral party, a third party, counselor, therapist, again, attorney, something of that nature. Please try and do it that way instead. And say, okay, if it's an emergency, have their mom call you, or have their mom call the attorney. Go through attorneys. If it's an emergency, he can't pick up the kids. Maybe you want to go through a family member or something. He can't pick up little Johnny at school, and he wants to let you know so you can go pick him up. That's something that's worthy. But again, if it's like, oh, I really remember when we used to do this and we used to do that, or, hey, we really need to go over this housing stuff. No, go through the attorney. They're just trying to suck you back in. Many of those messages are just trying to pull you back, or hoovering. It's called, air quotes, hoovering, trying to get you back. And, you might be, they're just feeling really sensitive. They're being nostalgic. Please just protect yourself. So don't answer that phone. Don't answer those text messages, or have the communication. If you don't have a restraining order, or even if you have that restraining order, do it through email. Many times when we do these text messages, or they might do there's other things, apps out there I know people communicate on. There's also special apps for the court that you can communicate on. There might be a charge for that. I'm not quite sure. That was way before. This is something that happened after my divorce, so I don't know too much about that. Or go through that type of app, or go through your email, okay? Check your email maybe once a day, maybe every other day. Or again, and maybe the kids are over there for overnights and you want to make sure that everything's okay. Check the email at that time. Of course, it's an emergency. They're at the hospital or something like that. You want to be mindful of that. Now, I was attacked at a hospital with my ex. My son at that time was very young. Not Miniman, my son Matt. He has epilepsy, so he had a seizure. He fell, hurt himself, and my ex, he said, hey, we're at the hospital. I need you here. And of course I dropped everything. It was a little leery. Even Mr. Austin was like, But I thought, I'm going to an ER. He told me where to meet him. I went to the ER and so on. And what I mean by attacked, I shouldn't say attacked. He did minor things like shoves, pushing. He stepped on my foot. He threatened me many times while I was there, just being mean and being rude. The nurses even saw it too. And, I tried to get a nurse to stay with me during that time, but of course they have their own things to do. I ended up having to leave. I felt that I was in danger. I wasn't doing any good, and it broke my heart to leave. It really did. It broke my heart to leave. Of course, he denied it up and down. I did tell my attorney what was going on. I actually called my attorney and let them know the situation, and I was unable to get them, so that's why I went anyway. But regardless, please be mindful of the situations that you put yourself in. And I'm telling you that because, I should have brought somebody else with me. Not Mr. Awesome, please. If you're in a relationship with somebody else and you're going through a divorce, a separation or somebody, please do not bring, and it's an emergency, don't bring that new person in to that hospital or whatever. Please don't. Or if you have to, let them sit in the car. And don't even mention it to your partner. Hey, I brought Joe. Joe's with me. Okay? So, David, we got to wrap this up. No. Don't even mention, because that can just be a whole big drama, and you don't need that. You don't need that, especially at those critical moments. So, email, okay? Tell your partner, and maybe even make a special email just devoted to your ex. I had one that was ROAL. I don't remember. I had a couple of them. I think right now on my phone it's same old Rob, but SOR. I can't remember what it stood for, but it was some kind of acronym that, for me, it was funny because in my mind it's like, oh, yeah, he's up to the same stuff. But that's where I would have my emails just devoted to him, because the text messages were getting ridiculous. The phone calls were getting ridiculous. The voicemails were getting ridiculous. And I would honestly constantly have the police over anytime. I'm telling you, anytime. Many people say, well, it's just stupid. They're not going to do anything anyway. This gave me a paper trail for him. I was able to give that information to the attorney. Maybe they didn't prosecute him. Maybe they just slapped him on the wrist. They didn't seem to do anything. But that builds a case against this person. So I encourage you, call any infraction. If he is seen past your home, get that report, file that report. There were many times where he would drive past my apartment and he would just sit there, or he would go to the back parking lot. But I would call the police, and I knew it in my heart that they said, well, he's not 50 feet, he can't come to your front door, and so on. But yet I went ahead and I filed that report anyway. I would pick up that police report and keep it aside. I kid you not, I don't know if you could tell, I had probably about 5-6 inches worth of police reports. And if you ever heard of a red rope, it's a big folder that many attorneys use. I don't know what I did with mine. Many of my paperwork I did burn. I do have electronic copies still to this day of much of that, but it was very freeing for me. So please, I encourage you, please keep up with those police reports, and anytime he's in violation, anytime, even if it seems really simple and dumb to you. No, they gave him an order to stay away, and he needs to be, or she needs to be, accountable for their actions. And so anyway, going off. So please email, get a devoted email for that person. Try to give your phone to somebody else if you can. Don't be Johnny on the spot to respond unless it's an emergency, to maybe a phone call, text message, voicemail, and so on and so on. Or have somebody else listen to that information so you don't feel like I know when I get a call, and I got to be a truth bomb right here. I thought of my ex. He wished me happy birthday just recently, and I didn't share that with anybody. Happy birthday, there was balloons and emojis on it, and I just blew it off. I've had nightmares since then. I had to do a cord cutting, and I had to do prayers just yesterday. It's like, okay, enough's enough, Lord. I need to do something. So even then, even though this is way back that I had my experiences, and I'd like to think I'm at least I keep saying I'm a 95 to 96% healed from my PTSD. I don't want to say from PTSD. I still have issues. So here you go. Here I am. I had one dream is where he kidnapped me, and another one was a little more tame, and I don't remember the other one, but it still happens to me too. These things do happen, but by the grace of God, I wanted to learn how to protect myself, how to protect my healing, and again, taking those steps. And I don't know where my sister got it from for taking my phone, but God bless her for doing that. And I was able to do these withdrawals. Now, my Soulful Sunday was supposed to be about this. make a list, and I did. I made a list, and this, I don't even know where I got this from, but I made a list of things, of incidents that I can remember, my past. This is what started me on going on that self-care, on that self-love for myself. I made a list of things that I can recall that he did to me. Incidents, pushing, shoving, name calling, were we in public, who were we with? And I made this list, it was pretty dang long, of these incidents. So what I did with that, where I'm going with this, is anytime I felt like going back, or I would get a message from him and it would be loving and kind and super sweet, I would look at that list. Anytime I thought about, well, maybe I should give him another chance, I would look at that list. And that would remind me, it would kind of anchor me back down to the past here, bring me back down to earth. This is why I left him. I left him because of X, Y, Z. A, B, C, D, yeah, A to Z. Actually, it was pretty long. This is why I left him. And this is why I'm staying gone. This is why I'm not going back. So that was my self-care Sunday. So this can be for, it doesn't have to be with an intimate partner. This could be with a mom, a dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle. You get where I'm going with this? So it could be with somebody else that might have hurt you. So please make that list and remember why you aren't going back. And some of it might seem petty. Well, you know, he yelled at me for staying out too long with my girlfriends, or he yelled at me because I wasn't home on time from picking up groceries. You might think, no, that's kind of dumb. No, it's not dumb. It's something that they did to keep you in line, to keep that control. That is something that they did to you. And I want you to write that down. Okay, it might seem minute and very small, but it's something. It's something that they did to degrade you, to demean you, to take away your power. And I want you to take your power back. Okay? And this is a small step that you can do. This is self-love. This is self-care. And I want you to do that for yourself. Start empowering yourself again. And this is how you can take that power back. Write down that list. It's going to hurt. You might cry. It might be very triggering. Okay, I'm going to encourage you. If it does happen where you're very triggered, walk away. Step away for a few minutes. Okay, you don't even have to reread everything at that moment. Maybe fold it up, put it in a drawer, put it in a box somewhere else. But anytime you do feel like you want to go back, or maybe it wasn't that bad, I want you to go ahead and look at that list, okay? And I'm looking at you right now with love, and I encourage you to do that yourself. Love yourself enough to stay away. And this person, again, unless they're going to go do leaps and bounds, they're not going to change. And I hope so, you know, because I'm still prayerful. I still pray for my ex. And, you know, I still pray that he gets that help he needs, that he gets that change, that he finds out what he needs for himself in order to love himself, because I know he doesn't. Just because of his actions, things that he says to me, even to this day, I know he needs some heart work, some soul work to do himself. But I can't fix him. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. You can't fix that person no matter how much you try, no matter what programs you get them, or no matter what coaches you get them. You can't fix them unless they want to fix themselves. And you are not responsible for that change. They are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and follow up with one card. Remember I was doing these? This is Make Yourself a Priority. This was the self-care card. So I'm going to do a quick shuffle here. I'm going to give you that, and I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to jump on Instagram and do just a small one of these posts here. So here we go. Visit a location that you find inspiring or meaningful today. So if you can do that maybe this week, go somewhere that's inspiring and meaningful. I love that card. Again, types of self-care are physical, emotional, social, mental. And how are you going to take care of yourself this week? And I want to know how it made you feel. So this is Melinda. I'm going to sign off, hoping there was none. Again, being led by the Spirit there. Thank you, Lord. This will be a podcast a little bit later. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any messages for me, you want to talk, I'm getting my calendar for next year to have some brilliant, inspiring, and empowering speakers and victims, now turned survivors or advocates, professionals, maybe they're coaches, perhaps they're psychologists, therapists, and so on. I've already got a list of the ladies and that I had last year that have decided to come on back and grace us with more information, golden nuggets, and so on. So I'm really excited about that as we go into 2022. I hope you look into the new year with inspiration and faith and some joy, and there will be some happiness for you. I know that. That's my wish for you. So this is Melinda. I'm going to sign off. Feel free to message me privately. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let it be blessed. And I love you. Stay safe. Bye.